All right, guys. So the follow-up episode to the 1 hour special is completed. Dragon Ball Super episode 111. It was a very, very good episode. This is like what we wanted with the Turn of Power, and it also did something that I had talked about previously that I really wish that the Turn of Power has been doing. I'll get into it once we get there, but I feel as though this is kind of something that the Turn of Power, it really, like, some of the earlier fights that, while cool, are just really not as interesting as they probably should be. If they had had something else backing it up at the time, it would have been a lot better. So let's jump into it. This is the SURREAL Supreme Battle, Hito versus Jiren. So, in a surprise to no one, the episode opens up with Frieza seemingly blasting Goku away, only for Goku to be reinvigorated with energy. And Frieza tells Goku, alright, there we go. Now all of our debts are paid. So, sure enough, Frieza was indeed giving energy to Goku. Because, obviously, Frieza, like, in that episode where Frieza was fighting Gohan, it seemed as though the Kaioshins and Whis and Beerus and stuff, they kind of, like, laid out, like, one of the big things that's going on with Frieza here, which is that Frieza is trying to, like, I don't think he necessarily cares about, like, Universe 7 winning, but he wants to get the wish from these Super Dragon Balls for some, seemingly nefarious wish, right? Be it, eliminating Zeno-sama, eliminating all the gods, whatever. It was directly stated that the Super Dragon Balls will be able to kill gods with its wish, which I thought was already implied with the fact that the Super Dragon Ball can grant any wish, but they just straight out came and said it. So, Frieza, like, basically heals Goku, gives him a ton of energy to where if he's not completely recovered, like, I guess it's presumed that he'll be able to recover so that, when there's only a few minutes left in the Turn of Power, Goku will be able to kick it up to Ultra Instinct again and probably fight Jiren. Now, Frieza himself mentions this exact fact, like, I need you to keep doing good work out there, especially fighting that monster Jiren, who I want to avoid. Now, this is interesting, guys, because we did see a promo for Dragon Ball Heroes in which Frieza, in his golden form, does attack Jiren. Now, I don't know, usually, these Dragon Ball Heroes promos, they kind of, like, imitate what's actually going to happen. Okay, there was a promo that was released directly, I think, before Merge Zamasu first appeared in the anime. And in this preview, we saw Super Saiyan Blue Goku kind of squaring up with Fusion Zamasu, and it was our first look at him. Well, fast forward a couple weeks, and that is basically what happened, where Super Saiyan Blue Goku was fighting Merge Zamasu for a while in, Super Saiyan Blue, before they eventually take it up to Vegito. So, I definitely could see, whatchamacallit, I definitely could see Golden Frieza fighting Jiren at some point. Now, I have proof of this. I don't know if I said this on video yet. I don't think I have. It's after watching the Frieza vs. Gohan episode, then watching the 1 hour special as many times as I did this last week. I don't know. I probably watched it like 10 times or 15 times, somewhere in that line. I'm pretty confident that Frieza will be the one to win the Tournament of Power and get his wish. I actually was talking to Rackerai Network, so he can confirm that for me, that I did say that a while back, but it is looking very, I don't know, I sense, I was such a not fan of Frieza showing up, and he has been doing a lot of really interesting stuff. I sense like a kind of greater purpose for his character than to just be bitched out in some type of way. So the scene cuts over to Hit and Jiren, and Hit is using he starts using his time skip, right? To kind of like, time skip around and attack Jiren. Jiren is able to block all of Hit's attacks and also powerfully counterattack. Like, at a certain point, they get to kind of like a standoff, and you see Hit kind of like flies up in front of Jiren, And Jiren turns around and punches the area behind him. And you see like his punch kind of like affect like the time skip type of like effect there. And like the hit that was standing in front of Jiren kind of fades away, and it's revealed that was a phantom that he created and that he was hiding in a separate kind of dimension using his time skip. You know, Hit is able to use a lot of really interesting abilities with his time skip. It's not just like something for him to like skip a second at a time and then just attack, but he's actually able to do, you know, kind of unique things, which is really cool. It's one reason I like Hit so much. Now, Hit continues to try and use time skip, and Jiren is able to counter it like perfectly every single time. Like Hit will, you know, appear behind Jiren. Jiren will hit him with like an elbow, and then Hit will time skip again, and then Jiren will kind of like, you know, smack him down. And this keeps happening over and over and over. And like a lot of the gods like start to notice this. Like Vados in particular is mentioning that Jiren sees completely through his movements, and then we see Champa and Shin, you know, the Universe 7 Kaioshin, kind of being like, well, why is Hit continuing to use the time skip if it just is not working on Jiren? You know, Hit is not the type to be doing like, you know, stupid, pointless moves like this. Now we see Goku kind of like, you know, perched up on a rock, you know, kind of monitoring the fight between Hit and Jiren. And behind him, we finally see them, the Universe 6 Namekians, shoot energy blasts at Goku. Gohan and Piccolo show up, deflect the blasts, and land down and say, like, you'll be fighting us, cocksuckers. And it is great because, you know, in my head, I was thinking of, like, there will be some dramatic moment and, like, you know, the Universe 6 Namekians would reveal themselves to Piccolo, and Piccolo will be like, oh, Nani, you know, because Piccolo is always like over dramatic like that. Piccolo, you go back, watch all of Dragon Ball. Piccolo is the one to be like, ah, like more so than anyone. So I was expecting that, but it's actually reversed. The Universe 6 Namekians, they're like, oh shit, a Namekian. And Piccolo smirks like, let's go, Kisama. Like, I was like, okay, Piccolo. Okay. I really thought Piccolo was going to be the one surprised. But Piccolo, he's got like that smile, the battle smile. And then Piccolo and Gohan charge at the Namekians. And that's it. Like the scene kind of cuts away. Then from here, we do get a couple flashes of several other fights, including Vegeta versus Ribrianne. Vegeta basically dominates Ribrianne. And it does appear as though she is, like, going to be defeated by Vegeta. Like, Vegeta is in base form, too, and absolutely just obliterating her. Now, the last of the three magical girls comes in. Her name is Rosie. She comes in and kind of, like, is able to kind of escape with Ribrianne, and Vegeta flies off elsewhere. Ribrianne starts to doubt herself, but like Rosie slaps her and is talking about, oh, love, you've got love, whatever, you know. Everyone hates Ribrianne. We're not going to talk about her for too long, but I felt as though, you know, these little scenes of battle between other people, like, it to me just feels so much more impactful when at the same time a big marquee match, Hit versus Jiren, is going on. It gives these, like, more weight. It's not just, like, you know, we're not sitting here randomly watching, like, Roshi fighting some random hentai character from Universe 4, and, like, you know, I love Roshi, but, like, it's just a turn of power. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. But, like, now, it's like, okay, like, Hit and Jiren are literally throwing hands. These are, like, two of probably the top 5 or 10 heavyweights in the tournament. I mean, Jiren is definitely, he's got to be number 1. I mean, they really are sucking Jiren off about how strong he is. And Hit is probably way up there as well. So, like, having this in the background, I don't know, it keeps my attention up while, you know, Ribrianne is doing her shenanigans and all that stuff. So, Jiren kind of, like, pimp smacks Hit, knocks him into a bunch of rocks, and he kind of falls to the ground, and a bunch of rocks, like, crater and crumble in front of him, creating, like, kind of a wall between him and Jiren. Hit at this point, like, says, like, I've adapted to Jiren's counters now, and he uses the shockwave attack that he used, you know, back in that little mini arc when he was trying to kill Goku, like that same attack, which is able to go through objects. Remember, Hit was able to do it, and it was going through trees and stuff. He does this attack, Jiren is able to block it, At that moment, Hit uses his time skip to appear behind Jiren, but this time, again, he has adapted to how Jiren counters, so he's able to get that punch directly on Jiren's heart. He completely just gets him right there. Now, the blast, it kind of like goes through Jiren, craters his heart or whatever, and Hit tells him this will bind you in a cage of time. Now, we see Jiren get knocked way far back, and then, like, you know, we see, like, Toppo's like, oh, Jiren, like, what? No way. And Jiren, he's pushed back to the edge of the ring. He doesn't fall off, but he looks down at his chest, and it kind of, like, it creates, like, a time skip just for him. Like, we see it from Jiren's perspective, where he's kind of, like, in a time skip, and then we see it from the outside, where he's covered in, like, this purplish sort of energy, and he's completely stopped. So Goku, while watching, mentions like, oh, okay, so this is Hit's trump card. And then we see Vados kind of explain what's going on. Hit is continuously using time skip on Jiren to kind of keep him held in place. And presumably, I guess, one thing he was doing was, when he was using time skip all those times before against Jiren, he was doing two things. One was, you know, storing up the time from the time skip, which he's now unleashing on Jiren here. And the other thing was he was memorizing, Jiren's counterattacks and like his movements so that he could actually counter him. So Hit has Jiren trapped in kind of like this cocoon of time. I don't know exactly what you want to call it. Caulifla, Kale, and Kabe are watching the fight nearby, and Hit turns to them and says, like, I'll do what I can here. The rest of you go do what you need to do to lead Universe 6 to victory. So Kabe, Caulifla, and Kale, they go spread out to fight other warriors of different universes, and we see Vados. Vados had a big role in explaining in this episode. She mentions that Hit is going to use all of his power for this attack, basically, presumably, to keep Jiren frozen for the remainder of the tournament. So, obviously, at this point, Jiren will not be able to eliminate anyone else, and there, you know, other universes actually have a chance with Jiren doing that, with Hit keeping Jiren locked up like this. And it is great because, like, you know, Vados is explaining all this, and then she ends with, I sense Hit's, you know, unwavering resolution. It's like, oh, shit, let's go, let's go. So, what we do is we get it, it kind of skips to, like, Hit is kind of keeping Jiren locked in place, right? And we see Jiren kind of just, like, absolutely just, like, muscling through, fighting through, and he's, like, slowly able to take steps towards Hit. Now, Hit, like, kind of charges all of the energy, and it's almost like this little sphere he creates in his hand, an energy ball. That is basically, you know, I guess what is like the time skip keeping Jiren like locked away. Hit determines that he's not going to be able to keep Jiren locked up for all the time remaining in the tournament. So he kind of charges at Jiren to use this time skip sphere or whatever it is, and actually use it as an attack. Now, he flies down, and Jiren kind of like, they directly say he stops the attack with his glare. So I guess it's the same thing that he does, you know, to deflect Goku's Spirit Bomb, just as overwhelming power. Jiren, like, muscles through and actually, like, opens up his hand, fights through the time skip, and is like an assassin's pride, huh? And he's just rubbish, and he just grabs the sphere, the time skip sphere that Hit has, and just crushes it in his hands. And everyone is just like, okay, this dude, yeah, this dude is insanity. Vados directly states, Jiren is beyond comprehension. He possesses power that transcends time itself. And, like, Ten Shinhan is like, what the fuck is going on out here? And even Kaoshin confirms, like, okay, so even time itself means nothing against Jiren's strength. So, I'm sorry. I was planning on doing a video on this, but I absolutely am. Jiren shits on Merge Zamasu, okay? I know a lot of people love Merge Zamasu, and he is, you know, Patara earring fusion, and it's with, you know, in the anime at least, it's with a Kaioshin, so he doesn't have a time limit. But, I'm sorry. Merge Zamasu would get bodied by Jiren. Like, nothing. Merge Zamasu is an insect to Jiren. I mean, it was almost kind of implied that Merge Zamasu would have gotten bodied by Beerus. I'm listen. I mean, Jiren is just it's insanity. Like, he's so much stronger than like everything else. It's absolute craziness. So at this point, Hit and Jiren, they kind of start throwing hands again, and Jiren uses the same move that he used to basically defeat Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, where he kind of like flashes his eyes, and then it creates like a flurry of punches all over Jiren. You know, like he basically in that instant, it's presumed that he hit him like 20 times or whatever. This knocks Hit way far back and is basically like a finishing blow. At this point, Jiren teleports over to him because Hit had been sent like way across the arena. He shoots a blast at Hit, and basically it's the same thing that he did with Kale. He turns around, says it's over, the blast explodes, except unlike what happened with Kale, Hit is actually knocked out and drops out of the tournament, having been defeated. And with Hit, like now in the stands, he does mention that when he wasn't able to beat Jiren in his one attack, his loss was confirmed. Basically meaning that, you know, when he had the little time skip sphere, when he wasn't able to basically defeat Jiren, knock Jiren out, whatever he was going to do with that attack right there, that was the moment that it was guaranteed he would lose. Vados then mentions, which obviously is going to lead into the next episode, that Universe 6 is in trouble after this. Now, it skips up to the Daishinkan, and we see the kind of the pillar move down into the arena, which, you know, signals that more time has passed. Remember, when the pillar goes all the way down into the actual arena, that is when the turn of power is completed. Now, it goes down one more time, and the Daishinkan says that with the dropout of the mighty Hit, the turn of power is now half over. And it's interesting, he kind of like flexes his power, does something, and we see that the sky is turned to green. Like, the background completely changes, which I guess, you know, it is fine because it'll give us a little bit of a different backdrop than we've been seeing. We did see a preview image of this before, and people were like, uh-oh, green skies, Goku Black confirmed. But it's like, now it looks like the Daishinkan just is changing the look of the actual tournament itself. At this point, Jiren basically, you know, talks with Toppo and mentions that the warriors he's needed for have already been defeated. So Jiren actually begins meditating. And like when he says that, you know, his power is not needed anymore, he looks directly at Goku and he starts meditating. Now Goku, after seeing this, is like, okay, so I'm not, you know, worthy enough to fight you like this. You know what? Did I mention before that Frieza did mention to Goku earlier in the episode? I think I actually forgot to mention it. That Frieza tells Goku that the gods were concerned and called it Ultra Instinct. So Frieza directly tells Goku that it's called Ultra Instinct. That's obviously a very big important detail. I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention that at the start of the review. But so now Goku knows that Jiren does not consider Goku worthy, like just in his base form like that. And if Goku wants to fight Jiren again, he is going to need to get that Ultra Instinct power. Now we see a couple fighters from, I believe it's Universe 3, go to attack Jiren from behind while he's meditating. And like just his energy alone kind of pushes them back. And Toppo tells them, if you're not able to break through Jiren's barrier, then you're not strong enough to fight him anyway. And that's how the episode ends. And obviously, so it's like, all right, so Jiren is going to sit there until Goku gets that Ultra Instinct power again, and we get the rematch. I cannot wait. This episode was phenomenal. Hit was defeated by Jiren. Absolute insanity. Will Goku be able to attain the Ultra Instinct form and defeat Jiren? Will it happen? Yes, I do think Goku will get Ultra Instinct. I'm not sure if he'll beat Jiren, but I do think we are going to get a part 2 to that fight, and it is going to be sick. A little disappointed about Hit being knocked out. To be honest, I do feel as though, you know, like Hit had more to offer than what we saw here, right? Like, I really strongly feel like we could have seen more from Hit in this Tournament of Power, but we didn't. It's all good. It's all good. Regardless, great episode. Tell me what y'all think, and later.